Nowadays, when most of us think of the word God, what springs to mind is a sensible humane God or spirit worshipped by the devotees of one of the major religions. However, if you delve a little deeper into anthropology or history, you are bound to find a great number of highly unusual gods that are still worshipped or have been worshipped in the past. Below is a list of 10 such curious, crazy gods and deities. Number 10. Lew Tunis. Lew Tunis was a Roman fertility deity symbolized as a giant penis. It is believed that the deity had a sanctuary in ancient Rome which was visited by veiled women. Lew Tunis played a significant part in every marriage ceremony. It is said that previous to marriage rites, brides straddled the phallus god as a way of making the first offering of their virginity. This also apparently prepared the brides for intercourse and taught them not to be embarrassed by sex. A model of the god's phallus was kept in most Roman bedrooms. The poor usually had only a stone or clay representation of the phallus, whereas the middle class and the rich could afford finer representations made from marble or bronze. Number 9. Bobby. Bobby was a fierce, bloodthirsty baboon god worshipped in ancient Egypt. As early as the Old Kingdom, Bobby represented supernatural aggression to which the monarch aspired. Bobby had full control of the darkness and had the power to open up the sky for monarchs because his phallus was the bolt on the doors of heaven. Also, the ferryboat of the underworld used Bobby's phallus as its mast. The terrifying god was said to live on human entrails, and thus protection spells were necessary to protect oneself against him, especially during the weighing of the heart ceremony in the Hall of the Two Truths, where a person's suitability for paradise was determined. Number 8. Aphrodite. Aphrodite, or Aphroditos, was a god worshipped in Greece. He was worshipped as both male and female and was portrayed as having a female form and Aphrodite's clothing, but also the beard and sexual organs of a man. To celebrate Aphrodite, men and women routinely exchanged clothing and assumed alternate sexual roles. It is also believed that during these rituals women assumed a penetrative role, while men celebrated the passive sexual experience. Aphrodite is also identified as the later god Hermaphroditus, whose name means Aphroditus in the form of Herm. In Greek mythology, Hermaphroditus was the son of Hermes and Aphrodite. Number 7. Beauties. Beauties was the Roman goddess of chastity and fidelity and was always represented as veiled. Beauties was also a feminine Roman virtue. Beauties was chastity, fidelity and piety attached to modesty, and was maintained by a woman's father or male relatives and later by a husband. Beauties was expressed by staying at home and by remaining invisible and untouchable to the public world. In fact, women who were content with one marriage were honored with the crown of Beauties, as it was believed that the mind of a woman was uncorrupted and loyal only when she did not know how to leave the bed on which her virginity had been laid down. The value of Beauties, as well as the worship of the goddess Beauties, declined after the founding of the Roman Empire. Number 6. Bona Dea. The Bona Dea, or the Good Goddess, was a Roman goddess of women and healing who was worshipped exclusively by women. Her true name is said to be Fauna, which means she who wishes well. However, Fauna was believed to be her secret name, not to be spoken aloud, especially by men. The Bona Dea was an earth goddess who protected women, and who watched over virgins and matrons especially. She was also believed to have oracular powers which she revealed only to women. The Bona Dea had a secret festival celebrated only by women, during which neither wine nor myrtle were to be mentioned by name. According to one legend, this was because one night Bona Dea's husband Faunus, the god of the wild, came home to find that she had drunk an entire jar of wine. Enraged, he beat her to death with a myrtle scourge. Thus, during the secret festival, myrtle was forbidden and wine had to be referred to as milk. Number 5. Juno Vera Placa. Juno Vera Placa, also known as Manplacator or the goddess who soothes the anger of man, was a Roman goddess who restored peace between a married couple. Juno Vera Placa had a sanctuary on the Palatine Hill in Rome where women went when they believed that they were wronged by their husbands. They would tell Juno Vera Placa their grief, and the goddess would dispose their minds to become reconciled to their husbands. Often the husband and wife would visit the sanctuary together. While there, each would speak their mind until their argument was settled, at which point they would return home in harmony. Number 4. Vera Samedi. Vera Samedi is a Haitian Vodou deity. He is often depicted with a skull-like face, wearing a black top hat, a long black coat, and glasses or sunglasses. He also carries with him a cane that is adorned with an erect phallus. Vera Samedi is said to preside over cemeteries and crossroads as well as the spirits of the dead. He possesses his followers at parties and rituals and makes the possessed individuals dance lewdly, make crude comments in a high-pitched nasal voice, mum sexual intercourse, eat gluttonously, drink heavily, and smoke. However, despite his vulgar behavior, Vera Samedi is taken very seriously, as he can give his devotees helpful advice on a wide range of problems, from romantic difficulties to employment issues. He can tell his followers when they are under the influence of witchcraft, and he can also wreak revenge on his followers' enemies. Vera Samedi is a deity often invoked in witchcraft and black magic. Number 3. Uncut. Uncut is a bisexual snake god in the mythology of the Aboriginals in northwestern Australia. Uncut is often associated with the rainbow and is known as the rainbow serpent. He is often associated with the erections of medicine men. It is said that Uncut, with the help of the Milky Way, made the world and created natural species by dreaming itself into their various shapes. Uncut also created clones of itself, known as Wangina, and placed them in various places, but particularly in waterholes. It is believed that these clones generated human spirits which then entered women and became babies. Thus, Uncut is seen as an archetype of life itself as opposed to a father god or a mother god. Number 2. Liebherr. Liebherr was a Roman god of male fertility, viniculture, and freedom. A public festival of Liberalia was celebrated on the 17th of March in his honor. The festival was celebrated with sacrifices, processions, and bawdy songs. It is said that the god Liebherr was especially celebrated with the worship of the male organ. During the festival, statues of phalluses were set up on little carts and, with great honor, were first displayed at rural crossroads and then brought into the city. In the town of Lavinium, a whole month was dedicated to god Liebherr. During that month, everyone used the most indecent language until the phallus was carried through the forum and brought to rest in its own dedicated spot. It was a tradition to have the most respectful matron to place a crown on top of the phallus. Furthermore, to make sure that god Liebherr was appeased and evil spirits were ward of the fields, the matron was forced to do in public what not even a prostitute would have been allowed to do in the theater. Number 1. Hephaestus. Hephaestus was the Greek god of blacksmiths, sculptors, metallurgy, fire, and volcanoes. He is most commonly symbolized with a hammer, an anvil, and a pair of tongs. Hephaestus was a talented craftsman and was well known for the wonderful weapons he made. He also made wheelchairs that moved on their own, and golden servants that helped him move about. As well as that, he created Pandora, a clay statue to whom Athena gave life, thus creating the first woman. While Hephaestus was a great craftsman, he even built remarkable palaces for the gods atop Mount Olympus. His love life was not very successful. His wife had an affair with the god of war,